Peter. So, yes, welcome to this week's meditation, which is really just an opportunity to give yourself 40-50 minutes of presence. The only present we really, really need is presence. I was just thinking about this morning and thinking how rich my life is because of presence. It's like everything is in sort of HD vision, very crystal clear. With presence, we can really attune to everything. Even the uncomfortable feelings, even the parts of us that are suffering. With presence, we can begin to really feel and sense the richness of this now. So my invitation for you is to see if you can, for the next 40-50 minutes, roll out the welcome mat for everything. Every sound, outer sounds, inner sounds, every sensation, whether it be breeze or any inner sensations in the body. So those of us who are into our 40s, 50s, 60s, there might be a longing for the things we once had, plentiful energy, spring in our bodies. Just that ample energy. And as I reflect about what do we gain? What do we gain as the body ages? And for me, the number one is presence. It feels like an infinite ocean here of presence. Notice how it feels for you in this moment in time, how your body feels. And you can be sitting, lying down, moving, maybe going for a walk, whatever serves your body in this moment, do that. And breathe. And one thing that goes hand in hand with presence is patience. What has your relationship with patience been over the years and decades? How has your sense of patience and presence changed over the years? And maybe what are you currently impatient about? What's currently nagging at you? And really, if humans were good at presence and patience, there probably wouldn't be a need for people to teach meditation. There probably wouldn't be much need for therapists, spiritual teachers. something in us that's always pushing, always wanting to hurry things up. Sometimes we can hear children say, I can't wait till I've grown up. Or I can't wait till I go to college or move out of the house. I can't wait until I graduate. I can't wait until I buy my house, get married, and all those other tasks. It's almost as though we're multiple steps ahead of ourselves all the time. So our impatience leads us to not be able to be present in the now. Maybe notice in what areas your patience has grown and expanded. There's a softness. There's a leaning into experiences inner and outer. And maybe notice what areas of your life your patience has actually shortened. You seem to have a clearer no, a clearer boundary in some way. Sometimes our patience can be born out of codependency, being patient with people as they trample over our needs, our wishes. And really our inability to speak up, to voice what is true here for us. So then what's the difference in between people pleasing and patience? When we turn a blind eye to behaviors that are somewhat harmful for us. So notice how it can go both ways. We can learn to speak our truth, say no where it matters. On the flip side, we can increase our patience, especially with ourselves, in our inner world, with our parts. When we listen to the 2-year-old part of ourselves with patience, or when we don't have to medicate the cold, the flu, when we let the body do what the body naturally does, and we're not hurrying to get better. Maybe the body needed that rest. So we're patient. And notice where in your life your patience has expanded and grown. Maybe just your ability to be present with your breath. As it comes in every moment. How about this fixer part of us that is always in a hurry to make sure that we're healed, that we're fixed, that we're at some point where we're no longer triggered. How is that part with patience, with presence? How about the parts that are 3, 4 steps ahead? Maybe parts that are not even in the body. They're hovering somewhere above the body, outside, perpetually seeking something other than the present. How are they with patience? And how about the parts that are maybe tuning into this meditation, but also planning? They're already planning. What am I going to do after, once I've finished listening to this meditation? The taskmasters, how are they with patience? How about the parts that feel bored, want to change? Inattentive parts, hyperactive parts, the parts that make our legs twitch. How are they doing with patience? How about when we're engaged in conversation and suddenly we can hear a part that is formulating the answers, the responses. So we don't really listen to what the other person is saying, but we're already focusing on what we're going to say. How are those parts with patience? So last week, the themes seemed to have been presence, and this week we seem to be diving into patience. And both of those are two P qualities of self in the IFS model. And for me, so much of patience is linked to trust. Kind of leaning into, leaning back, letting self lead the way with patience. So lean back, see if you can let your body settle. Pull back any parts that are hovering above. Let them ground. Feet on the floor, body on the chair. Trusting gravity. Being held. Maybe even being guided by self. The same essence that guides the animals, the trees, stars, the moon, the oceans. That same essence guides us. We try to outrun it. We try to outdo it. And in the end, it exhausts us. When we're forcing, when we're pushing, we end up running on empty, attempting to pour from an empty cup. And so we seek for nourishment, for water outside of ourselves. And all along, there's a fountain within, pristine, clear water, the fountain of self, effortless, essence that guides you and me. So lean back, lean in, snuggle up to self. That's where patience lives. That's where presence lives. If you've got to this point in the meditation, you might find your body wants to yawn, stretch. Maybe you need to move position. Maybe you need to lie down. Roll your neck and shoulders a little bit. Maybe the parts that were really wanting for this meditation to be over so that they can get on with real life, with tasks. Maybe they're now snuggled up with self. Maybe they're now drinking from the fountain of self. Diving into the clear waters, cleansed, soothed, satiated. Maybe they're quite comfortable now. Patience is about trust. Trust that self is the ultimate guide here. And to some extent, we then come outside of this notion of time. Where there's patience, there really is no time. We enter this kind of trusting presence. Self doesn't really work with deadlines, schedules, musts, shoulds, agenda. Self has patience. And notice something about that word patience. It has nothing to do with time. and everything to do with presence. And trust. So initially we might think that patience is somehow linked to slowing down. And that could be an initial phase of it, yes. But ultimately, patience is not linked to time whatsoever. If it's linked to time, it's probably comes from a part that thinks in a week, in a month, in a year, I want to do this. Patience is open-ended. In a way, it feels infinite. It feels ever unfolding in the now. In fact, the only place patience can happen is in the now. Can't happen in the past, can't happen in the future. It's only now. If we're planning to be patient for a week, then we're somehow planning the future, something that isn't here, it's now. So initially, there may be something to do with the notion of slowing down, taking our time, but ultimately, patience is outside of the laws of time, the finite laws of time. It can only happen now. And patience is especially difficult for our driven parts, fixer, healer parts, the inner critic, for whom really all of this should have happened 10 years ago. You're 10 years too late for this part. This is why we have the phrase late bloomer. Late bloomer. I wonder, flowers in a meadow, when they bloom, do flowers have a notion of being a late bloomer? Or is it just now? And this now is perfect as it is. Not early, not late. It simply is. So above all, be patient. Be patient with yourself. And trust that the essence, the self-essence, is guiding you. You can lean into it, snuggle up, and breathe, and trust. So whatever journey, whatever inner journey you've taken, see if you can just send a note that we're going to transition now. If you can send some gratitude to whatever was present here and whatever is present now. Before you come back to your surroundings, see if you can take a couple more conscious breaths. If you can become aware of the feet on the ground, body on the chair. Thank you for joining me.